Welcome to the Black and Gold Standard Podcast. Excuse me. And what we want to talk about today is the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback situation, which what I'm calling is the Steelers quarterback merry-go-round. So we're just going to talk about some of the last few guys that they had playing the quarterback position and just trying to figure out what the hell are the Pittsburgh Steelers doing with this quarterback situation. Are they blowing it? Are they setting themselves back? Are they mishandling this situation, or do they have a plan that maybe just none of us are smart enough to figure it out, but they are? So we're just gonna try to talk about that a little bit and just see what the heck is going on here. Because right now, I can't figure it out. I can't figure it out, and I'm thinking probably none of you guys can figure it out either. So, with that said, let's kind of just look at the guys that we had as starting quarterbacks. So this is the list of people that Steelers basically and had as starting quarterbacks. Obviously Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Fame career, and and we're gonna kind of go into his situation a little bit. Mitch Trubisky, which was a fail. Kenny Pickett, which was a fail. Mason Rudolph, I'm really not gonna say it was really so much of a fail, but it wasn't great. And I think, to be honest, part of it is it was the Steelers' fault with this situation. Justin Fields, I really can't say it was a fail, probably more of an incomplete. But again, um, that was the Steelers' decision to to not play him, to put him on the bench after he started the first 4 games. And on top of that, when he as a free agent, not to really try to give him a contract. And Russell Wilson, again, at the end of the day, didn't turn out good. Um, so I just have my opinions on all these guys. So with that, let's kind of jump into it. So Big Ben, it's not too much that you could say. I mean, like I say, probably is going to go down and should go down as the best quarterback in Pittsburgh Steelers history. That I know you get a lot of people say is Terry Bradshaw, and I give Bradshaw the 4 rings, but after that, there's really no comparison. I'm quite sure Big Ben owns every quarterback record for the Pittsburgh Steelers. My only issue that I had with Big Ben was when the Steelers bought in Mason Rudolph when they draft him. Big Ben didn't want to have no parts of trying to help him, and it kind of cost Mason a year. And not only am I putting blame on Ben, I'm putting blame on the Pittsburgh Steelers because you allow him to do that. In which, hey, if he don't want to work with the guy, I get it, and then it's something they really can't make that happen. But they should have bought in a quarterback coach to work with Mason, which they didn't. So Mason's rookie year was basically a waste. Ben didn't want to work with him. The offensive coordinator was Ben's buddy, so he definitely wasn't going to work with him. And he didn't have a quarterback coach. So that, to me, that falls on the Steelers. And again, Mike Tomlin, that falls at his feet. So that kind of stunt Mason's growth a little bit. Like I say, he basically had a year of I don't know what the heck was he doing. Was he just back there looking and just learning on his own? But Ben definitely didn't want to have anything to do with him. Now Ben did kind of do better when he got hurt. I think he was kind of coaching Mason up, but I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. By that time, that relationship was already done and was kind of set. But again, I kind of put that on being, but then also at the end of the day, it stops with the Steelers and their front office. Mitch Trubisky, it was a they bought him in free agent. Um, it was a fail. Um, they drafted Kenny Pickett, and I guess they wanted to use Mitch as the bridge quarterback, which wasn't a bad idea. I can't really get on the Steelers about saying it was a bad idea. I just thought that at the end of the day, it didn't work. It just didn't work. So um, can't really blame the Steelers for that or say that they really didn't do a good job. It was just a situation where it just didn't work for them. Kenny Pickett. Wow. Where can we start with this guy? But first of all, and this has nothing to do with Kenny Pickett. Again, this was the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, and I think one of the issues was Kenny Pickett might have been here because of something that happened 30 years ago. The Pittsburgh Steelers didn't bring in Dan Marino. It's a lot of rumors and stories going on with that, and maybe it might have been the best thing for them not to do that because of some situations that was going on with Marino. But nevertheless, Kenny Pickett, I just thought if the Steelers truly did their homework, they might have seen that it was some red flags there that just maybe he wasn't the guy. Like me personally, I don't like I don't I don't like the fifth year quarterback. And then you really don't do nothing until your fifth year when you're older and you've been in college for 5 years. At this point, especially college, you ain't seen everything, so ain't nobody really fooling you. From a defensive standpoint, and like I say, you the oldest guy out there. Um, Playing in the ACC. Me personally, I don't trust the ACC. I don't think the defense is really up to par like that. So I just thought it was a couple of red flags there that if the Steelers really looked at it, maybe they would have not took Pickett. But um, and on top of that, the end of the day, he quit on them. In Seattle, he didn't want to be the backup quarterback. Then he when Mason left and everything, he basically was going to come in as the starting quarterback. I mean, the Steelers signed Russell Wilson, and more than likely, it probably was some promises told to Russ that he was going to come in here and be the starter. Like I say, I think this is where the Steelers just totally botched this quarterback situation. So, hey, Kenny Pickett was like, the hell with this. Kenny Pickett was like, he was like, the hell with this. I'm out of here. So he requests to be traded. No, he requests to be traded, and I mean that's it. So at the end of the day, it was another fail situation there, and that was another guy that kind of bit the dust. Mason Rudolph. His last few games of his last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, I mean, his first time go around, he played well. Actually got the Steelers into the playoffs. Didn't play bad in the playoffs. Him and Pickett kind of got on the same page. I think one of the things Mason does is he throw that deep ball. He's very good at the deep ball. My only concern was I just thought his pocket presence is sometimes lacking. hold on to the ball a little bit too long. But I'm I don't have a problem with him being back. And honestly, with this foolishness going on right now, I wouldn't mind seeing Mason be the starting quarterback. If the Steelers drafted a guy that they know that maybe he's not ready to start day one, but sometime during the middle of the season that transition can happen, and the rookie quarterback could take over. But I think Mason could definitely play good enough to keep this team um, right at the top of this division, and I think he'll play well. So I don't, like I say, it was a good pickup. Actually, I was kind of shocked that he even decided to come back to Pittsburgh, because I thought it would might have been some issues between him and Mike Tomlin, but maybe not. So again, Rudolph, glad to see him back, and hopefully he has a better time at it this time around than he did the first time. Um, Justin Fields, he started the season last year for the Steelers. Didn't play bad. Got a lot of people excited, because he did make a lot of plays with his feet, and that's just a part of his game that he's really kind of elite at that part of his game. But he still has a long way to go to be an NFL quarterback, a consistent NFL quarterback. Because honestly, if you look at the all 22 of the games that he played, especially that Cowboys game, he was terrible. Even though at the end of the game he did put the Steelers up in the defense, let the Cowboys come back and drive and win that game. But he was terrible in that game. So Justin still has a long way to go. So maybe if he gets with the right offensive coordinator, there in New York, and they can continue to work with him and get him going. But like I say, as far as his running ability, he's elite, and he's a big guy. So he can take some punishment, and also dish out some punishment when he's running that ball. But you got to do more than just be able to run. You gotta become a quarterback and make plays with your arm. So that's where Fields is at right now in his career. Russell Wilson, again, not I'm not gonna really say it was a fail. I'm not gonna really say it was a success. I mean, Russ was what he was. I will say, I think sometimes Russ maybe don't understand that he ain't got it like how he used to have it a few years, 10 years ago. But I will say, for what the Steelers needed him to do, I thought for the most part he did it. Um, a lot of his detractors will try to look at the last 5 games, but I'm gonna tell you now, I give you any quarterback in the NFL. That's Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. You put any of those guys in the Steelers starting lineup for those last 5 games, and I guarantee you those guys would have went 0-5 too. Um, you really got to remember, you never you went the whole year without getting a number 2 receiver. Pickens was hurt for 3 of those games. When he came back, the fourth game, he was on total crash out mode. So you might well say he missed that game. So the defense was like, hell, we don't, you know, we basically, they have no passing threat. We just can sit here and stop the run. That was very easy to do because By this point, the offensive line, you had the two rookies in there. They had hit the rookie wall. Jones and Dan Moore had crashed out. They were done. So the offensive line was terrible. Um, so Russ was just back there trying to make plays and actually probably doing more than what he was capable of doing. So that probably was part of him really looking terrible. But for the most part, I think you could have put any quarterback in that situation and they would have been 0-5. Steelers just fell apart at the end. The defense was totally done. So I think Russ kind of gets a bad knock on, everybody want to look at the last 5 games, but I just think by that time the Steelers was just a total disaster all the way around. But with that said, I don't know. It was a situation where they said that Cincinnati game, um, Arthur Smith and maybe Tomlin kind of got mad at Russ because I guess Russ was like, "The hell with this, I'm cooking." And he had the big game. The Steelers ended up winning that game, and they needed every point that they scored to win that game because the defense was giving up points, so I just think it was a situation where they kind of they didn't want Russ back, and to me, I thought that at this point probably would have been their best option, but that didn't work out. So we'll see what happened. But I thought overall, I thought Russell Wilson played okay, and I definitely would have bought him back for this year. But Steelers looked at it another way. Okay. Unless you live under a rock, everybody think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be the Steelers' next quarterback. I kind of believe it that he's going to sign with the Steelers. There's rumors out there that the Steelers and him kind of got an agreement that he's going to come in. But again, this is the BS that I don't want to deal with Aaron Rodgers. Like, why is it taking so? I mean, like it seems like he has to do everything on his timetable. Now I totally get it. If you're sitting there and you're really deciding if you want to play or do you want to retire, but my thing is, if your mindset is there, then you're pretty much done anyway. But I just think at the end of the day, he's going to be a Steeler. But I just have a strong feeling that it's not going to end well. I mean, as a Steeler fan, I hope I'm 100% wrong, and I will eat my words if I am wrong. But I just have a feeling that this is going to be a total disaster at the end of the day. Um, but it seemed like this is, and to me, this is all Mike Tomlin. This ain't no Omar Khan. This ain't no Art. Well, Art Rooney is probably, he's in agreement with Tomlin, but this is Mike Tomlin 110% right here. This is his decision. And like I say, I just think it's going to end. I think it's going to end bad. But this is where we at right now, and this is where I'm saying, are the Steelers really botching this whole quarterback situation? It seems like they have no plan, and to be honest, it seems like they don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, let's just keep it a buck. Um, I like Jackson Dart. I don't know about taking them at 21. I don't know if the Steelers could move down a few picks and get him and maybe try to get back into that second round. But me personally, when I look at his film and I look at Cam Ward and I look at Shador Sanders, I don't I don't know what the big separation is. I mean, Cam Ward is definitely probably a little better athlete than Dart. Dart is a good athlete. This ain't a guy that just sits back there and can't move. I mean, if you watch his film, watch some of his highlights. I mean, he's running over guys. He's a tough, thick guy. I think he could be just as good as Bo Nix. I mean, actually, I think he's better than Bo Nix. So, I mean, you seen what Bo Nix did, and he's probably 3 years younger than Bo Nix. So I don't know what the thing is with Dart, and I had said this before. I think one of the biggest problems is a lot of people just don't know who he is. Simple. They don't know who he is. A lot of people haven't seen him play, and so they just hear, oh, they're trying to hype this guy up, but I think he's just as good as the other two guys, especially Shador. I mean, to me, I have a lot of questions. I have more questions about Shador than any of them. I mean, because when I watch him make plays and play at Colorado, I thought that was a cupcake schedule, but everything is side to side, backwards, running all over the place. You're not going to be able to do that in the NFL. Now he's accurate. He's accurate, but you're not going to have the time that he was afforded in Colorado, running around and making plays like that. But I I don't know. I would love to see the Steelers get Jackson Dart, work with him a little bit, and maybe like I say, if you had to, Mason Rudolph was maybe would start the season off, and then eventually Dart would take over that position. Um, if they bring in, I mean, I still even want to see him with Aaron Rodgers because I think with Aaron Rodgers, unless he come in here and win the freaking Super Bowl, this is going to be a 1-year deal. And my only question would be if Aaron Rodgers is here, will that be another Big Ben situation where he's really not going to want to work with the guy? He's going to want to do his own thing. But the only good thing about it is now Pittsburgh Steelers they do have a quarterback coach. So if he ain't, to be honest, that probably is going to be the quarterback's coach job because, I mean, what the hell can he tell Aaron Rodgers? So he ain't going to have nothing to do. So he probably could basically be, the rookie quarterback personal coach for the whole season. So I just think the Steelers are in a better situation to help a young quarterback, you know, develop a little bit. And I like the situation of bringing in Dart. So we'll see. We'll kind of see how that goes, but that in a nutshell, that's the quarterback situation here in Pittsburgh. Just kind of wanted to touch on that stuff a little bit. We probably gonna have another show on Tuesday, and then Wednesday. Make sure you watch Smash the Gas with Tate and Big G. I'm glad they added me to the show. We have a lot of fun, especially with Big G. He get all excited and say his stuff, but I really enjoy it. So on Wednesday at basically about 7:30, 7:15 or so, come check us out. And again, Smash the Gas. And we have a lot of fun, and it's all Pittsburgh Steelers talk, and it's a pretty good show. So check that out. But until then, take care. Don't forget to leave your comments, like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. All right, bye bye.